Hey, what is going on everybody? It is Nolan, or the Optimistic Gamer here, and welcome back to All the Mods 9. Today we are once again back in our main quest line, taking a closer look at our quests that we have to fulfill. I'm thinking what we will do today is take a look at the starter power, and then continue on in some of these other branches. Some of these we have already checked off, but we have not yet gotten the starter power quest fulfilled yet, so we can't collect our reward just yet, but we will do that here. And it looks like the starter power tab that we have here is something that we have already made. It says that a generator augment, it's got all that, but right down here, the coal generator, it's a basic machine that burns items like coal directly into power. I believe we have already made a coal generator, so why don't we step on inside and grab that, put it in our inventory, and what we should hopefully see once we do that, I think it is in our inventory grid here, we should hopefully see that we complete that quest, although it doesn't look like that is the right one. Click to view valid items. We have the furniture from the Power mod. We have the augment generator from iron furnaces and a coal generator from RF Tools Power. I think we can just go ahead and make that. That is simple enough. So let's look up coal generator. And yes, I was taking a closer look at the digital miner. That's something I'm hoping we can accomplish here shortly. So we need to make a machine frame. To do that, we need some blue dye. That shouldn't be bad for us to make. We have plenty of lapis here, so we will make a couple of blue dye, and that will allow us to make a machine frame. And then we just need a couple redstone torches, 1 and 2. Again, this isn't really going to do anything for us, especially considering that we now have our wind generators right out here, but what that will do for us is give us 3 completed quests from our jetpack, our cables, and of course that coal generator that we just made. Plenty of XP from that, and a bottle of honey. Not really sure what we will do with that other than store it away for now. But let's see what we get from the jetpack. Of course, a little bit more XP and some iron for iron ingots. We can store that as well. And from the power cables, we will get an upgrade base. I don't know what we do with this actually. It looks like it is from the Productive Bees mod, something that we will take a look at in the future. So again, that checks off those 3 things from the list, but we still have 3 other items right here. Wireless power, building gadgets, which is an optional quest, and power storage, which is something that I am vaguely familiar with, something that we also covered in Crafted Chaos. I think we will do that. The reason we want to make power storage is what we will see is right here we have a wind generator. It is producing 100, well, I actually don't know how much it's producing, but we can see right here it is currently storing 80 kilo-FE. Same thing in this one, it is storing 80 kilo-FE. In all of these cables, all of them combined together, they are storing 25.6 kilo-FE. In here, 64 kilo-FE, and so on. Everything right here is storing power. The capacity bank inside of all of those is full, including our wind generator. But that means that when all of those are full, the wind generators aren't doing anything for us. They are just spinning, and that power is going nowhere. We want to store this power so that we can continue to make that power. So if we ever get into a high energy demand, say charging a jetpack, for example, we can quickly do that and not have to wait on the wind generators to make even more power. So we are going to make some of those power banks. We have a few different ones. We have a capacitor from, I think it is from Ender.io. If we take a look in here, right up there, the basic capacitor bank. That holds 500,000 units of power. So that is made with those basic capacitors, a block of redstone, and 4 iron. That's not that bad to make as long as we can afford these basic capacitors, which I think we can. Now we do need those grains of infinity, But in case you don't know this, that is as simple as going down to bedrock, which I know isn't that simple now, but we will go down to bedrock with our flint and steel, light the bedrock on fire, and when that fire extinguishes naturally, I think it has about a 50% chance of dropping grains of infinity, which we will then use to craft those basic capacitors. Now these we can place down next to each other so we could increase the size of that bank. We can also upgrade them into an advanced capacitor using 2 basic capacitors, a double layer, or 2 basic capacitor banks, a double layer capacitor, and 6 energetic alloys. We won't worry about that today. The other option for storing power comes from Mechanism in the form of these energy cubes, which have different tiers. Now the basic energy cube holds 1.6 mega FE, which is a lot. Remember, these wind generators currently have 80 kilo FE, so it can hold 20 times that amount, which is very, very impressive. So I think we may actually opt for this, not to mention it is a little bit cheaper. All we need is a steel casing. Steel is fairly easy for us to make. In fact, we may even have some steel already, which it looks like we do. So we will make that steel casing, and we will make 2 of these energy tablets, which we are just missing some of those infused alloys. Those are made with redstone and iron. Again, very, very affordable for us. So let's go ahead and work on that. We will need 4 of those alloys because we need 2 of those energy tablets. So we will get both of these items added to our metallurgic infuser, and that will begin to run on its own. While we wait on that, let's make our machine casing. That is going to be made with, again, the steel, some glass, and an osmium ingot. That gives us our steel casing, and we complete the perfect foundation advancement. We will add that back into our inventory panel, and as soon as these infused alloys are finished, we already have 2 of them, we can make our energy tablets, which, we are missing some redstone, which means I'm off to the farm to harvest a little bit more. Alright, we should have enough redstone now. Our Prudentium scythe is starting to get low on durability. It is almost time to upgrade that, but that is another topic for another day. So with our redstone now, we can make 2 of our energy tablets, 1 and 2, and we should have everything that we need to craft a basic energy cube. Of course, we are going to complete a quest for that. We can go ahead and collect our reward as well, and I know this doesn't sound like much of anything, unless of course you are familiar with modded Minecraft, but this sink that we just got, this kitchen sink, that is a very, very, very valuable resource. What this sink allows is infinite water. Now, when we go to build a nuclear reactor, I don't know when that will be, but we will do that at some point. This will be the source of our water to keep that cool. So again, a very powerful block, although that one is just labeled as sink. I just want to double check. There's sink, and then there's, okay, it is just that one. So I guess either it was renamed. I just am familiar with this as being the kitchen sink. Nonetheless, a very, very valuable block. We may even go upstairs. I guess we already have a sink up there, don't we? So we will place this one down here. It's nice to have a little bit more water downstairs as well. So that's a valuable reward, but even more important than that right now is we have our basic energy cube. Now watch what happens when I place this down. We will see all of the energy in that cable. Although it is still green, you can see at the top it's 0 FE out of 25.6 kilo FE. If we look in the wind generators, those are quickly depleting on both ends, but our basic energy cube is filling up. Now, if we leave this connected, all of our devices connected to these wires will draw from energy inside of this cube. So it's essentially just another way of storing. You can think of it sort of like our external storage drives for our inventory. This is external power that we can tap into if we need it. And you will see we also have a couple of menus in here. We can add power into the energy cube or take away from it, or vice versa. In fact, let's go ahead and test this out with our iron jetpack. If we put that right there, it is taking energy. You could see it's taking energy from our jetpack, quickly depleting. If we put it over here on this side, it is adding to it and decreasing the amount inside of there. So again, this holds 1.6 mega FE. Our jetpack holds 800 kilo FE, which is just under 1 mega FE. So right about at this point is where we will fill up. That's how much energy our jetpack will need. We don't need our jetpack for right now though, so we might as well just go ahead and fill up the energy cube with what we have. And of course, now that these wind generators are empty, it filled up very fast because we already had all of that power, but now it has to generate it, and it is outputting 192 FE per tick. Of course, on our standard tick speed, I think we are at 10, either 10 or 20, I can never remember, ticks per second. So that is slowly filling up. Eventually it will be full. That's just going to be something that runs in the background. Now again, eventually we will get into nuclear fission and eventually fusion, and we will be making unbelievably large amounts of power. If we take a look at some of the elite energy cubes here, the highest level, it holds, well, that's a creative energy cube, but right here, the ultimate energy cube holds 102 mega FE, but even that will still not satisfy our energy needs later on. For now though, just 1 mega FE is far more than we even need. In fact, some of these devices don't even hold all that much to begin with. Our metallurgic infuser, just 8 kilo FE. But while that charges up, let's have a look at a couple other quests in this area. Building gadgets, this is something that I definitely want to take a look at. We did briefly cover this near the end of the Crafted Chaos series, and I actually really like the building gadgets. You can see we have the normal building gadget, and then we have a few others: copying and pasting, destruction, cut and paste, all different kinds of devices here. We are just gonna make the standard building gadget, although we need an alvamodium nugget, and I don't think we actually have any of those. It doesn't look like we do, so I think we may pass on that. Again, it is an optional quest. We don't have to complete that right now to complete this whole quest line. So let's take a look at wireless power. Cables can only go so far, which means you'll eventually want to transfer your power wirelessly. Now, of course, that's not really applicable to us right now, but say we have all of our generators downstairs and we wanted to work up here in our office. How do we get power up here? Well, with the wireless power. There are a few ways to do this. You can use the player transmitter from the Powa mod to charge the items in your inventory, or you can set up a wireless power network by getting into the Flux Networks mod, which I think is something that we will do. Let's take a look at the Flux controller and just see what that entails. So right in here, enables wireless charging on your Flux network. That looks a little bit complicated. We need all different kinds of flux blocks and dust. How do we obtain or make this? To create, we need redstone and obsidian, and it looks like we place the obsidian on top of the redstone, also on top of a bedrock. But that will give us the dust. I'm assuming 9 of those dust items is how we will make the block. Well, we need a flux core as well. That requires quite a bit of obsidian and eyes of ender. You know, we may actually end up skipping the wireless networks for now and instead taking a look at something a little bit more achievable. Well, I think we will actually instead take this episode in a different route and search for a deep dark biome. Now, the reason for this is alvamodium. That is where we will find all the modium ore. That is the only place that we will find alvamodium ore except in the mining dimension. Although I'm not quite sure how we get there yet, I can't imagine it is anywhere close in our future. For now though, we have a few more tasks to collect. We got our kitchen sink, we will get a fluid pipe for that, and some XP. And we also have right down here in productive bees, somewhere, our upgrade base right here. XP, another upgrade base. Well, is that not what we collected? I guess we haven't quite unlocked it yet, although we will get the, oh, it was from the honey bottles, not from the upgrade base. And then also in all the power, we can start on some of these. All we have to do is check them off and claim some XP, and that will give us our rewards for making the energy cube, which we will get a steel casing, and what else did we get? A name tag, all right. And we will also get an infused alloy. But now let's focus on getting to the deep dark. So of course, those are most common under mountain biomes. Right out here in our energy cube, it is now filled up and our wind generators are slowly filling up. We are going to deplete quite a bit of that energy, adding it into our iron jetpack, but that's okay, it will still have quite a bit left over after that. In fact, it will only take it down halfway. And in our electrolytic separator, I think we will make a little bit more hydrogen fuel so that we can fill up our other jetpack as well. Now, obviously, we have lots of oxygen. I guess we can't drain that in the bucket. There should be a way that we can store that though, although we can just make one of those chemical tanks, and that will allow us to store oxygen in it. Right here, those creative chemical tanks, we just want the standard, which I guess we will just look up on our own. And we need a little bit more redstone and osmium to make that. We do have another raw osmium ingot though. Alright, now we can make the basic chemical tank, and this should store all of that extra oxygen in there. Excellent, and that will just continue to fill up as we add more hydrogen or water into there. Actually, if we wanted to, we could place down our kitchen sink and just continue to make that hydrogen indefinitely, which I think we may end up doing that. There might even be a way that we don't have to place down any fluid pipes, although we did get that one from the quest reward, so I think we will just go ahead and use this. So when we place this down right there, and our kitchen sink right next to it, we should see, I think we need to configure this first. I think we just want to make sure that the fluid pipe on the front is input, which it is. That's interesting. It should be filling up. Our jetpack, well, we are struggling for energy somewhere else. I think what we will do, what we can do with our energy cube is just place that directly into the electrolytic separator, and that will fill up just like that. Of course, the problem now is this fluid pipe. It doesn't seem to be cooperating with our current setup. Maybe if we place it on top and put our kitchen sink on top of that, let's see if that will end up working for us. Alright, we have it on top. If we go to side config, we want the fluids input on top, just like that, and it should be filling up. I don't know why it isn't. I don't think this pipe works. I think that is what the problem is. So let's have a look at some other fluid pipes, specifically from Mechanism, since that is the mod we are working with here. If we scroll through, well, I didn't see it on our first go at it, so let's type in Mechanism, and those are our fluid tanks. And we don't have any pipes, so they must be a different name. Here we go, mechanical pipe. And we can afford it. It is 2 steel. That will use up our steel, but that will give us our pipes. And now when we place that down, still no water. I believe now we need the item configurator. which is right here, and we are 1 infused alloy short on that, so redstone and iron. And we are also 1 energy tablet short, so a couple more redstone and iron. I suppose there is a possibility where we don't get around to venturing to a deep dark today, but if we could at least locate one and get a waystone placed down, that would be great. And then in the next episode, we could spend some time really exploring that. I think fighting a warden, we do actually get a quest for killing the warden, and we get quite a bit of XP as well, and potentially some very good loot. You can see stuff like a netherite pickaxe in there, or an enchanted book, and of course all of the percentages next to it. Very rare loot, so if we do end up killing the warden, that would be great. We have a lot of different methods that we could use that are a lot safer than vanilla Minecraft, that's for sure. So we'll make our energy tablet, we will make that configurator, and we will go plug this into the wind turbine right over there. That will charge it. We don't need that to be supercharged. That should be good. Just enough so that we can change our pipe right here. And we want this to export, and there we go. It is now working. So that is filled up with water. The oxygen, of course, filling up in the chemical tank, and the hydrogen into our jetpack. I'm gonna wait for that to get charged up, and once that is ready, we should be good to travel on into the deep dark. Well, while we were waiting, I decided to go make the tertium scythe, not realizing that we already had everything that we needed to make that. So that is wonderful. And of course that will grant us with yet another quest in the mystical agriculture quest line over by our tools, which are right here. 25 XP and some more tertium essence. Just one, but that is pretty good. So of course that will add another 1200 durability to our scythe, and that will get us going for a while. We are just about there with our jetpack. We are at about 16,000 hydrogen. I'm assuming it stores 20,000, so once we get up to that 20,000 mark, we should be good. Of course, our iron jetpack is equipped right now. The engine is turned off as well as the hover mode, but that will be good to go for us here shortly once we take off. What I'm thinking is we will travel up towards the Cherry Grove, way up here, or perhaps the Lavender Fields, as we have a snowy grove right up here. The only thing I'm wondering is if this is actually registered as a mountain where a deep dark is more likely to generate. However, we do have some spruce forests around in the area. It's definitely more mountainous, so I think we might have some decent luck up in this area, as opposed to down here, which has a lot of warmer environments. Also, I think because we have a jetpack now and we can quickly travel to nearby distances, we are going to fly over to the village right across the water here, which of course with the iron jetpack we do pretty quickly, and we are going to, I guess the village is not in that direction. It is to the south of us, and we are going to grab the waystone from this village since there really isn't any purpose to having it now, since we can very quickly get over here, and hopefully we will find a deep dark that will allow us to place this down and we can quickly transport to there. You can see how much energy we are already using up with this. That used about 1.25 kilo FE, which is honestly a lot more than I thought we were going to use. Luckily, again, we do have our other jetpack. So both jetpacks are full and equipped now. That one can actually go right there. And we can head over to our waystone and travel to the Lavender Fields, where we can begin our search for the deep dark. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure on the likelihood of a deep dark being underneath these types of mountains, but we can fly around and search. So it looks like we have a fairly large cave opening right here that I'm a little curious about. It looks like we have some spider webs hanging from the ceiling and a few more spider webs all throughout this giant underground ravine here. And what do you know, we do have a deep dark. Right down here I spy some skulk, so that did not take us very long at all. Now of course there is no warden here, although there is a dungeon with a skeleton spawner, so I think we will make our way into there. We might want to put our chest plate on though. And I got a little bit excited. I saw this and thought that that may have been all the modium ore. It is just some inferium ore, but I'm not actually sure what we are looking for here. But I do want to quickly get in here and grab that spawner, and we will get out. We will let all of those skeletons deal with each other, and we will just take out the leftovers here. There we go. Alright, so that takes care of that. In here we have a trident among lots of other valuable looking loot that we will of course add to our backpack. And of course it never takes long for those backpacks to fill up. That's why we brought both of them. And we got a couple advancements from some of these random items as well. Again, I don't even know what all this stuff is, but it will probably be useful to us later on. So what exactly are we looking for down here? We are looking for all the modium slate ore, most likely, since we are way down here, found in the deep dark biomes and cave walls and ceilings. So it has a very bright yellow look to it, almost like gold, and that is what we are searching for. So let's just make sure that we are in the deep dark biome, which we are, so it should, if we come across any, we should just be able to see it. We're just going to be careful around that lava here. I don't think we need to go too much farther. I'm not seeing any right down here, but it looks like, well, hold on a second. Let's go to our cave layers if we can. I don't know if we can, but what I'm seeing in our top... Oh wait, here we go. Alright, this is what I am seeing. Right over here, this looks an awful lot like a deep dark or an ancient city, and with that light blue carpet right there, that is a telltale sign. So we have in fact stumbled upon an ancient city, sure enough. How amazing is that? Not too shocking though, kind of anticipated all things considered, but very impressive. And we have what could be gold or what could be all the modium ore. We just don't know, and we won't know until we get across this lava and find out what is behind that skulk. Either way, it will benefit us. We can definitely use both. If we place blocks there, is that lava going to burn us? I think we might place that there, and we can do that safely. I don't know. I think this is gold. My guess is gold, and it is in fact gold. But I have a feeling that is very similar to how this is going to look. We really don't need that gold. I'm wondering if we might find it behind some of the skulk. Now it said in cave ceilings and walls. I'm wondering if it only generates exposed to air. That would be something interesting that I'll have to look into. We do have a chest right down here, right across this lava. I think we will just check this out just to see what we have, and we're not going to deal with that thing right now. I don't really want to, although I don't think it can reach us, so we might be able to kill it. We're just going to remove that block. There we go. I don't think it can get up here. A mimic. It has 60 hearts. That is very impressive. We're just going to stand up here from a safe distance and hit it with our sword a few times until it is dead. And it dropped a chorus totem. A fatal hit teleports you somewhere else instead. So sort of like a totem of undying, but it may inconvenience us a little bit. But it may also get us out of a very dangerous situation. We do have some prosperity ore right here. I won't pass that up. That's also, or always, very useful for our mystical agriculture. expansions. And I'm sure in the rest of these barrels, we will find very similar loot to what we have come across in the past. I'm just making sure none of these are trapped. And just some very basic loot, actually, almost nothing in there. But let's get over to this ancient city, get our waystone placed down, and then I think that is where we will end it. Once again, I got pretty excited seeing that uranium, thinking that that could have been all the modium. And that is a block of raw uranium. Can we safely grab that? We can. And we can grab that raw uranium as well. In fact, there's a lot right here. We really don't need that right now. We are, again, a ways away from nuclear power, but it's still fun to have. So we are once again getting into the deep dark here. Behind there, we have some more inferium ore, block of silver now, so we are getting into some pretty large ore veins, which is very nice. And it looks like that ancient city is going to be pretty much straight ahead in this direction, a little bit to the right, but not by much. We will dig a tunnel over there. I'm sure we will trigger a skulk sensor and get our first strike of the warden. But again, we have our waystone. The warden cannot use our waystone, so if we ever get into a dangerous situation, we can quickly teleport away and be nice and safe back at home. Now, the other thing I'm actually wondering is if our jetpack makes any noises. If it doesn't, we could effectively fly through this thing and open up all of the chests. Of course, when we do that, it will trigger all of those sensors, so we need to be mindful of that. It will probably end up summoning a warden, but if we can fly at a minimum, that would be pretty nice. And it looks like we've gone a little too far in that direction already. We need to turn to the right. We may be above it. Will it show us the Y level here? That is at -52. We are at -25, so I think if we start to staircase down, we should get into the ancient city right at the right Y level. All of this for all the modium. Alright, I think we have reached the top of the ancient city, and it looks like we have a pretty good platform right here where we may be able to set up shop. Let's just go ahead and turn on hover mode, slowly descend down into the darkness, and here we are, the ancient city. The skulk has a very nice shimmer to it. I don't know if that is from the shader, but I kind of like that. Nonetheless, we are here. There are shriekers and sensors, and that is where we will leave it for today's episode. Let's get our waystone placed down, and let's call this Ancient City. Again, we will revisit this in the next episode. For now, if you enjoyed today's episode, definitely hit that thumbs up button and make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on our Ancient City adventure or any other future videos as soon as I publish them. Check the description for some more important information, links, how to contact me, all of that good stuff. And with all of that being said, comment, like, subscribe, remember to stay optimistic, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye!